Hello guys, welcome to another PowerShell variable session. In this video, we are going to be covered user-defined variable. So as name it's suggesting user-defined. So what is the meaning of it? So user will create the variable name and user will store own data in own variable name. But in last session, we have learned built-in variable in which we can read only and there are already created variable names. You can't really change that one, right? Here you can create your own variable name and you can store your own data. So there is a rule or format of a name to create variable name. So what is that? And first one rule is that you have to be using prefix before your variable name. So this is your mandatory condition or rule that you have to follow. And second rule is that you can use your alphabet in uppercase or lowercase to keep your own variable name. So it could be from A to Z in uppercase or lowercase. So any one case you can use in a variable name. So these are two information is enough to creating a variable name. But you have another two rule that you can apply in a variable name, and you can also use a number in your variable name, and you can also use underscore. So this underscore basically used to separate your word in your variable name. If you are using more than one word in a single variable name, so you want to separate them, so you can use an underscore. It's an optional if you want to use, so you can use this one. And number is used when you are going to be create same variable to store the same kind of information. So to distinguish that variable name, so you can use the number. But first and second rule is enough to create your variable name. So let's see some sample of your variable name. What are the samples that you can create in your script? So before that, I just want to tell you one thing. While you create a variable name, try to create a meaningful variable so that other one can understand easily your coding. And second thing, while creating your variable, you try to keep the short name of your variable. This is the good practice to creating a variable. So let's see some sample that you can follow while creating a variable. As you know, variable is used to store the information. Information could be a number, a string, object, array, hash, etc. Right? But if you are storing the string like a name, so for that, what name I have to be create for variable? So I am going to create a single word variable. So single word, and I am going to store the string data. A string data type. So for that I have to be create a name. So you can create a name in uppercase, right? Like that you can create another form of this variable. You can create like a name. So this is two forms to creating a variable, and you can also create like that name. So now you can see I'm just following the rule here. So first rule is that to use the dollar before your variable name, and while keeping the variable name, so you have to use this one in uppercase or lowercase. So I'm just using an uppercase here, and here I'm using in a lowercase, and this is a capitalized case, right? So any one form you can use while creating a single word variable. So these variable can store only a string data type. So name always having a string, right? And suppose you have a 5 names that you want to be stored in a single variable, you can store only single name. But if you want to store that information, so you have to be create a 5 variables. So for 5 variables, so that having a number. So you can use number to create that variable. So how you can use that one? Like a name 01. So I have created these 5 variables, so in which I can store 5 names. So first one is indicating 01 is indicating to first name, and 02 is indicating to second name, and 03 is indicating to third name, and so on, right? But I'm using here 2 digit, and you can use 1 digit as well. So these are storing only string data types, and if you want to store the number data types, how you can store that? Number data type. So number data type, how you can for number relatives, for example, you are going to store the age of any person. So for that you have to be created variable. So what variable you can create? Like in uppercase you can age, and you can create in lowercase as well, and you can create also this form and capitalized form. So anyone you can create of a variable. Same we have created this form in a name variable, right? So these will store only number, right? So like that you can create your different kind of a variable. So these are storing only single word variable, and if you want to create a more meaningful variable, so how you can create it? As for example, and we have created this name, right, and age. So you are not able to understand these name having of your parent or child or any object name. So you are not identifying easily here. So what I will do, I will use here one more word, so that we can easily understand the variable meaning. So what, for example, you are going to be store the student name. So for that I will use a one more word, student, double word variable. So how I can create that one? So we have an dollar and student, right? And we have another word, name, right? So for name I will use a name, right? So to separate them we have to use an underscore, right? So this is the first form, and you can also create a variable like that to keep the shortest name. So what I have done here, each word, so in this variable name I have making first word in a uppercase. Now you can see N is in uppercase, means capital, and S is also capital while creating a variable, right? If having a more than one word to keep the short name, right? You can create like that, student name. So this is also another form that you can follow, and same thing you can create here if you are using a 5 student name to store. So you can take an help of your number like a 0102. So you can use also a student name 01 and a student 01 name, right? So this is another form. You can use the number in a last or between you can use anywhere number, but try to create your variable name meaningful. So these are the some sample that you can create, right? So like that you can create your sample. So let's try to store the information in this variable. For example, I'm going to store some variables. I have not stored any information. I just had created this variable sample, right? And now what I will do, I have created this variable and now I have to store some information in this. So which information I'm going to be storing in this string data type. So to store we have to use an equal. So equal is indicating means you are storing information in this variable, whatever you will be put in a right hand side that we assign to this variable. And now you can see this is the indication of your string. Let's save here Smith and now select this one and run it. And if you want to display it, so you can type here same exact name and enter. You will be display the value of your variable, and here you can select here only and then run. So like that you can also select it. So we are storing this variable in this variable, and suppose you are going to be store age, right? So in this variable I'm going to store number, that is an integer type, right? So let's save and $age, run it. Now you can see it is running. So you can write your variable in any case to print. It doesn't matter you are writing in which case, right? It's a non-case sensitive language. And if you want to see the types of this variable, you can also see like a age.get type, and now you can see int 32, and first one variable that is a name. Now you run it. Now you can see it is a data type string, right? So you are able to store the value in a variable, and you have created your own variable on information. And if you want to create again same variable, what happened? For example, you have put here 34 age. So what happened if you run this one? So you have run both. So if you run this one, so now you can see it is returning 34. So what happened here? It is overwriting your variable. This variable can store only one value or information in a single variable. So it will always show you the last variable value. So this one is your last statement variable value. So it will display this one. If you write again this one, so what happened? It will age and 45. So this one become a last. So it will return this one value, right? Now you can see. So in a single variable, you can store only single information. So let's try to understand little bit advanced. So what is that advanced data type? Suppose you have created a variable name, right? And you want to be stored in this variable more than one name. How you can store it? So for example, you have a two names. So let me create here first variable name like a Smith, and you have a second variable. You have to enclose that one also here, John. So what you have to do, you have to be separate these two information via comma. So if you separate your name via comma, so that you can store more than one information in a single variable. Let's see. Now if you run this name again, so what happened? It is returning both information. If you want to save one more information, you can also save in a one more information. Let's run again and print this one name. Now you can see it is returning that one. So like that you can store more than one information or value in a single variable. So this is your called array format. So this is your array, and you can also store like that an array. For this is another form to create an array. So always you have to be put at the rate before your variable, and you have to use this one bracket. Inside that you have to be put this value. So this is another form of your array. So you have initialized this variable name. Let's run again and you will see this one. And how you can create your empty array. So for example, I'm going to create a $age that is empty. So you have to use this one. This is your empty array. And if you want to see it, let's check it the data type. $age dot get type. Now you can see it's an object array, right? So it's an array, right? If you directly pass like a is equal, right, and empty, so what happened? This is your string data type. So this is not your array. So this is the good practice to create your array, to create more than one variable, to store more than one value. So this is your advanced data types, and suppose these are the data and you want to be accessed. So this one, you just need this one or this one name. So how you will be get this name? How you will be get this name, specific name? So you can say what is the position of it? 0, 1, 2. So these are the position 1. If I'm starting from 1, if I start from 0, so what is the position? 0, 1. So this is the position 1, right? So in a programming language, counting starts from 0. So if you want to access that particular name, so how you can use? First you have to use a $name, then square bracket. Inside the square bracket, put the position. You will be get that specific name, specific item. Now you can see it is printing that specific name. 0 position, this is 0 position. And if you want to see first position, select and run it. Now you can see John. So what is the position? 1, right? And if you put 2, so what value it will be returned? Bob. If you put 3, so you will get here error. Which kind of an error you will be get? So it is not returning any error, but might be you will get like a out of bound error, right? So this is your way how you can access any particular data. Accessing means displaying any particular item. So you are using from 0 to up to n. So this is your forward direction. And if you are accessing from this direction, from last to starting, so this is your backward direction. So for that you have to provide the number. So this will start from -1, -1, -2, -3, like that it will start. So let's see how you can get this name, and then you have to get the last one. So what is the last one position if you are counting from this direction? So this is your forward direction, 0, 1, 2. So this is the 2, and if you counting from last, so this is the -1. So let's see -1 and take this and run this. Now you can see it is returning Bob. If you put here 2, so it will return John. Now you can see it is returning John. If you put here 3, so it will return Smith, right? So you have a two-way or two direction in which you can access any particular item of your array, and you have an hash data type that will also store more than one values. What is that? Hash table. So what is that syntax? Let's create here a student. Okay, and I will save here student information using an hash table. So what is the syntax? Syntax is like you have to be used first at the rate, then curly braces opening and ending. Inside that you have to put your information. So how you can put the information? First you have to be define the key, then equal and value. So this is the syntax how you can create. So this is your single item, and if you want to be store more than one item, how you can separate? You have to be separate via comma or something different. You can separate via semicolon, right? Or you can also use a break this line. So like that, if you have a put, you don't have to be separate, it's automatically separated. Now you can use key to equal value to, like that you can specify. If you are specifying in a single line, so in that case you have to use a semicolon to separate this item. So in a single line you are going to be pass more than one item, so you have to be using a semicolon to separate this item. If you are not using it in a single line, in multiple lines, so you don't have to be using semicolon and another or any another character to separate it. It's having a break your line, right? So this is the syntax. Let's create here key name must be a unique. Make sure name, what value I have to put here, John, and second value, second key, that is an age, and here I will put the age 23. So like that you can create your hash table. Let's run it, and you are able to store more than one information. And if you want to display this, just select this one and run it. Now you can see how it is written. In name column it is returning your key, and in value column it is returning your value, right? And if you want to access any particular information, how you can access of your hash table? So same way you have to be use your variable name, that is an student, then square bracket, and then here you have to put your in a inverted comma, double or single, anyone. So here you have to put your key name, which key value you want to be accessed. For example, I want to be accessed only age. So what is the value of it? Let's select it and run it. Now you can see it is returning 23. If you want to access the key value information of names, here you have to pass name and run it again. So now you can see it is returning that one. And if you want to access only keys, so how you can access? For name you have to use, then your variable name in which you have saved this information, student, right? Student, and then you have to use dot keys, right? And if you select this one, so it will return only keys. Now you can see age and name. And if you want to see only value, so here you have to use an value and select run. Now you can see it is returning only values. I'm not going in a more detail, we just have to be understand the variable, how you can create and how you can store it, and how you can store more than one information in a single variable.